Hello, this is George Geist, and welcome back to Streaming 2027. In this video, we're going to talk about Netflix's 180-degree sports turn. Little context. In January of 2023, Ted Sarandos, co-CEO of Netflix, states, once again, that his company has nothing against sports, but can't see how current rental prices can be profitable. Fast forward to this month, which is January 2024, and we're going to talk about and visualize Netflix's WWE sports streaming deal, which is a 10-year, $5 billion deal. We'll also discuss in this video Netflix's possible involvement in upcoming NBA rights. So let's get started. Here I have the Streaming 2027 application open, and we're going to go right over to Constellations. And let's go to sports streaming. Notice that what comes up is, first of all, a Constellation Overview, which I will not go through in detail. I'll just read the first sentence. Live sports have been called the last bastion of cable and the next frontier of streaming. And we may be seeing that play out in a pretty substantial way. Scroll down and you see that this is a Morgan Stanley graphic, which is a nice one to summarize, at least as of last year, what was being committed by traditional sports broadcasters and new media entrants on sports rights. And the number, if you add it all up, is $24 billion plus. We can discuss this in more detail. Obviously, there's a lot of detail here. But what I really want to get to is our constellation of sports streaming. So let me bring that up and notice that once the physics stabilizes, we see we've got a pretty complicated space. We can zoom in and out on it. You'll see there are lots of relationships, lots of companies, both current and potential future. But if I scroll down a little bit further, you'll notice that as an outlier, we've got something going on out here. Going down here is this Netflix relationship with WWE. What's that all about? Well, in order to understand this, we've got to back up just a little bit and take a look at the TKO group, as well as Endeavor, that is a controlling interest in TKO. So let's look at Endeavor first of all. If I click on Endeavor and go down, you notice that Endeavor is a sports and entertainment company that owns and operates sports properties and represents talent. What's important for us to notice here is that Endeavor owns majority control of TKO, a merger between UFC and WWE. We're throwing a lot of acronyms around here, but we'll make sense of this. So here we have the TKO group. Let's look at the deal that formed TKO. And here we have it. I'll click on it and notice that last September, Endeavor took its mixed martial arts group and merged it with WWE, forming the TKO, which is a publicly listed company. Endeavor has 51% controlling interest, and WWE shareholders own 49%, because, again, it's a public company. Now, if we go on a little further, let's look at WWE in more detail. We're getting closer and closer to this deal. So here's WWE. WWE, as a company, worldwide wrestling entertainment, promotes professional wrestling as well as other properties. It outlicenses IP to produce video games and action figures in addition. So finally, let's take a look at the WWE Netflix deal. And here we go. We'll click on it, and you'll see that January of this year, in its first major move into live sports, Netflix signs a 10-year deal valued at more than $5 billion to exclusively stream the hit wrestling show WWE Raw, in addition to other properties, starting in January of 2025. That's next year. Now, Netflix, skipping a little down, talking about some of the details, has the option to exit the deal after 5 years or extend it for another 10 years to make it a cumulative 20-year deal. The move is driven by Netflix's desire to grow its AVOD tier, advertising video on demand, which is a pretty small part of Netflix's revenue at this time. But Netflix wants to grow this and feels that live action sports is one serious way to make this happen. The 10-year $5 billion deal is priced at lower value than some analysts estimated, given historical sports rights inflation. One thing I want to point out is that our service, Streaming 2027, forecast this event earlier this year, January 6th. We said that in June of 2024, in a surprise move, Netflix purchases significant streaming rights for WWE in a deal valued at $350 million per year. Actually, it's a little bit more than what we had forecast. So let's take a deeper look at Netflix as a company. Now, obviously, it's a very complicated company, but let's take a look at some of the details associated with it. So I'll go down here and click on More Details for Netflix. And I'm not going to go over all of this, but I do want to highlight the most recent events. January 23rd, 2024, Netflix had a good quarter, adding 13.1 million subscribers net. Okay? Also, it reported that it was increasing its free cash flow estimate for 2024 to $6 billion. And here's the deal. Earlier that day, Netflix was talked about that we described this first major foray into live sports, the WWE deal. Now, one final thought. If I scroll down to look at this timeline for Netflix, remember we have these timelines that we can generate. Everything to the left of the red line are past deals, whether it be the launch of the ad tier in late 2022 or possible future events that could occur. Here's one, for example, Netflix building its own ad tech platform, or Netflix and Microsoft partnering on a game platform. Now, all these events occur under different scenarios, as we'll see, and they have different probabilities. But the thought I want to leave for you in this video is that NBA rights are coming up this year. Now, going back a little bit in history, Disney used free cash flow from ESPN, its sports platform, to fuel its growth and acquisitions in other video content, be it Pixar or Marvel or Lucas or whatever. Conversely, as we've seen, now Netflix has free cash flow, projected to be $6 billion in 2024. Will Netflix use a good part of its free cash flow from video streaming to continue increasing sports rights, its ownership of sports rights? In other words, should there be an event out here to the right of the red line that forecasts Netflix obtaining a package of NBA rights? There probably should be, and we're going to add it. Okay, that's it. In upcoming videos, we're going to continue to examine the central role that sports will play in the future of streaming. We'll see you next time.